Hello everyone and welcome to Mountain Lake Journal. I'm Tom Halleck. This week, New York State's DEC, Sea Grant, and the Lake Champlain Basin program are going to be meeting over the next several months during the winter to come up with a plan to tackle a huge infestation of an invasive plant that is turned up for the very first time on this side of Lake Champlain near Plattsburgh City Beach. Aaron Vinnie Vollrath, who was with New York State DEC, took us by boat up Dead Creek, also known as Scamotion Creek, that flows into Lake Champlain, not far from Plattsburgh City Beach. Heading upstream, when you pass Interstate 87, where the creek widens, you can see the problem. Invasive water chestnut, as far as the eye can see, for several acres. It was first discovered after some of the plants floated downstream and turned up on City Beach during last summer's Mayor's Cup Festival.
We knew there's probably more somewhere just with the amount that was getting washed up, but weren't sure where it was until one of the boat stewards from the Lake Champlain Basin program went up the creek there and started finding the denser populations.
And that is when both the DEC and Basin program realized they had a big problem.
It's concerning because we were not aware of the population. Examples here. We got together with New York State DEC and they went out and surveyed and found a few rosettes. And so we'd been looking for the source. And then we had stewards who paddled up with DEC into Scamotion Creek, and then they found this big population that we didn't know about. We have had some reports of rosettes sort of floating in the bay, and that's concerning because they're an annual plant and they carry that nutlet, and that nutlet, if it falls down to the sediment, can regrow the next year and grow multiple rosettes.
Invasive water chestnut is known for spreading and choking out other native plants.
It grows really dense, it'll choke out other native vegetation, but it'll also just choke up the waterway, so you can't really swim or boat or fish in the water where we have dense water chestnut populations. It does look threatening to the habitat here. I mean, going up there, you have just gone under the interstate, but if you can turn off the noise and look around, I mean, it's very wild and beautiful, and there's a lot of diversity of native plants, and we saw a lot of different types of birds that were living and moving in and around the reeds, so I think it is going to have an impact to Scamotion Creek.
It could be a threat.
Yes.
So this past week, Meg Modley, the Basin Program's Aquatic Invasive Species Management Coordinator, and the DEC's Aaron Vinnie Vollrath headed back out on Dead Creek to see how much the water chestnut has spread in the past year. The DEC and Basin Program are looking to team up with other partners to get funding and permits to tackle the water chestnut.
And we're trying to come up with sort of a two-pronged approach. Managing this population will take many, many years to bring it down in size, but right now we want to contain it. We don't want the rosettes to float out of the creek into the bay and then seed new infestations. So there's a few possible solutions to that, and some of those may look like boomed curtains that would allow boats and people to paddle through them, but it would stop water chestnut from flowing through them to sort of contain the population within the creek while we can figure out how to manage it.
And beginning sometime next summer, they're also hoping to send in crews to remove the plants by harvesting them by hand, much like they have done for the past several years in other areas around Lake Champlain.
The primary way that we harvest water chestnut in Lake Champlain is by hand, and a lot of it is by contracted paid crews. So we have a lot of investment. We spend over $500,000 annually on managing water chestnut in Lake Champlain. With the mechanical harvesters in the South Lake, where the populations are so dense it looks like a putting green, that's where it's an effective way to use a mechanical harvester. But when you come up to these wetland areas, you may have a plant here, a plant there. You don't have enough depth in the water to get a mechanical harvester in, and then you also want to selectively pull out the invasives and leave the rest of the native plants.
So a lot of the focus here will be hand pulling.
Hand pulling, yep, that's correct.
And also thinking about how close we are to the local beach as well. Those nutlets with the spines are a problem with people trying to walk around barefoot on the beach.
So you don't want them getting anywhere near City Beach.
Right.